So I want to talk about platform selection, selecting the right platform for your website or your e-commerce project or even your web application. So I think there's two main areas to start. The one area that is obviously growing really fast is software as a service. So I think the first thing to think about is, do you want to go with a software as a service, kind of a closed platform where you don't have access to the entire platform, or do you want to go with something open source and a little bit more flexible that gives you the advantage of really customizing it to whatever you want it to be? So that's the first thing that I would really think about, and how does that also fit in with your goals as a business? So actually taking a step back, maybe you want to evaluate what is your vision for the next 5 to 10 years? Is it maybe just testing the waters or getting a really lean infrastructure in place and being really efficient with your website in terms of the cost and the maintenance of that? And if that's the case, then maybe you want to go with something like a software as a service. However, if you're like, hey, we have this big vision, we want to really build this really incredible technology that our competitors can't do or will struggle to execute on, then maybe you want to go with an open source technology because you can have the control to build something really, really unique and not worry about the limitations of a software as a service. So then I think once you've decided whether you want to go with a software as a service or an open source technology, because they're really very different in the way that you go about those projects, that'll help you narrow down the options. So within software as a service, you have some of the enterprise options like Demandware, which is now Salesforce Commerce Cloud, and then you have some of the more small business, BigCommerce, Shopify, and maybe even go down to Squarespace. They have some e-commerce technology as well. So then you can start to narrow in on those platforms and start to really think about the costs and the features and what they really have that would make sense for your business. Same thing on the other side. If you decide to go open source, you have Magento, some of these other technologies, WooCommerce that you can narrow in on. And then the other thing that's going to really help you make the decision is building a requirements list and maybe kind of group it into two things. Maybe there's like phase one or the current project and the requirements that you have for right now. And then you have the future requirements, the vision, as I talked about, building that out for the future will also help you make sure that this platform can also help you now, but also help accommodate that future vision. Because you don't want to build something that works now, but then down the road, you're going to have to change right after you just built it. The most important thing that obviously people care about in terms of the feasibility is also the budget. So understanding the cost of the platform, and it's not just about the cost of the actual platform itself, it's the cost of building a site on that platform is important. So I would go get a lot of quotes, maybe talk to some industry experts and get a sense for kind of the cost ranges it takes to build a site on the platform, and also the maintenance cost of running your website on that platform over the course of a year, multiple years, to get a better sense of does my budget really fit with the platform? If your budget's fairly small, you're probably not going to go with a Hybris or Salesforce Commerce Cloud or some of these big enterprise platforms that have huge entry costs in terms of just the license fee, and then the agencies that use these platforms are also very expensive. So you really want to make sure that all these things kind of work hand in hand with your situation.